You're watching Pyro Media Network. Hello, Pyro Media family. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience with us is fruitful. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. And we do hope you consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Hey, good evening. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to everyone. I'm so happy you're here. If you're here, if you're watching the replay, welcome. Thank you for joining in. It's Just Kim, and it's Just Kim, my show live. Just a time for me to talk about the things that are important to me, and all things girls, all things ladies, all things fun and happy. And so that's what we're here to do. And we're here to share information and to just kind of open ourselves up to each other so that we can grow. Anybody want to grow? Yeah, it's not good staying in the same spot. So we should always be in that mode of growing. So I'm glad you're here with me today. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you for taking the time out, because you know what? You don't have to do it. You could be busy doing a lot of other things. And maybe, just maybe, you are busy doing other things while you're watching the show. Yeah, that's smart. So keep on doing that. You could be stirring up a pot, getting kids ready for the bath, whatever it is that you're doing right now. I appreciate the fact that you are sharing this space with me. So I want to get right to it, because I have a special young person that's with me tonight. And she's going to be the first of several people who will be with me on this series. I want to start talking about, or having, some mental health moments. So some of the shows this year will be mental health moments, and I'll be talking to different people from different walks of life, different ages, genders, and backgrounds, and all of that. And I want to talk about mental health and what that means to that person, or in that situation, whatever that thing is for them. So our first mental health moment is going to be with a millennial, and not just any millennial, honey. Not just any millennial, but one of my favorite millennials, Miss Brenae Seals. Yes, everybody give her a hand. Miss Brenae Seals. Miss Brenae Seals is definitely one of my favorite millennials. I've known her since she was 11 years old. How about that? She came to my church when she was 11 years old. And I mean, she's just grown by leaps and bounds, and we've grown very close. I call her my mini BFF. And she definitely walks in that right. We're going to go ahead and bring Bree on right now, and I'll introduce her to you.
Hey,
Hey,
hey, hey.
Bree. How are you, darling?
I'm good.
Very good. Very
How
good.
are
Thank
you?
you for joining my show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Like I tell, my folks out there, you don't have to be here. You don't have to be here, but thank you for doing it. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Hey, Brea. Oh, hello, everybody. We're so happy that you're here. Hey,
Yes, thanks for tuning
Verona.
in.
Thank you for joining the show today. Thank you, you guys. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate you. We appreciate them, don't we, Bree?
Yes.
Well, let me go ahead and get started because usually we run out of time because the conversation gets so good. But
hmm
Miss Brenae Seals is a 26. Are you 26?
I am.
26-year-old young lady who just recently finished college with a degree. And I didn't even know they had a degree with this title. This tripped me out. You have a degree in digital media,
hmm
right?
hmm
You're a poet, you're an open mic host, and a children's church leader. You're a beautiful young woman, a sister, a friend. I'm sure I think you have a boo. And we won't go there. But a lot of things to a lot of people. And I know for sure that the kids love you. They just eat you up at church.
Yeah.
So I wanted you just to unpack that digital media degree. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's so funny how most of my foundation starts at church one, right?
Uh-huh.
So Dr. Shig and I, back in the day, he was doing his motivational speaking. And I was like, I really like to do more promotion for you, like take pictures, navigate your Instagram, and things like that. So I didn't really have a name for it at that time, but I went for computer science because of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but that's how it started.
Okay.
Fast forward to now when I was about to get my degree, 2020. Dante and Kwame had asked me to start doing the announcements for media team. And Bishop said, maybe Bree could be on KTLA or something from doing the announcements.
He's the biggest promoter in town, I tell you.
And I'm like, So I still had the communications digital media major, but it's kind of floating in between journalism and digital media, but that's how it
Okay.
started.
Oh,
hmm
okay, nice. Very nice. And I'm sure that that is something that's very popular now. You
Yeah.
know, when I was in college, I'm pretty sure we did not have a digital media degree available. So that's
hmm
good. I'm glad to hear that. So I want to jump right in because this particular show is really about mental health and just some mental health moments, just talking about it. And I felt like you were a good guest to have on because I know that you are a mental health advocate. And so I've seen you on Instagram, with different information that you share with people about mental health. You're very encouraging, very enlightening to people, especially people your age. And I think that's extremely important because a lot of people in your age group do suffer from depression, anxiety. But I wanted to read this because this was some interesting information that I gathered. And it says that millennials suffer from an increasing number of mental health conditions, and this trend is affecting their overall health. For example, millennials have seen an increase in major depression, alcohol use in the past year. Nearly 1/3 of millennials have some type of behavioral health problem. They're more likely to suffer from depression than their elders. And then there
Wow.
was this one statistic that said in February 2017, 57% of US adults, young adults, reported symptoms of depression and anxiety compared to the older counterparts with just 46%. So it seems as though anxiety and depression and, mental health issues are on the rise for some of our younger people.
Mhm.
I've read that millennials are sometimes known as the anxious generation, the anxious generation. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you all were raised in an era of the internet. Yeah, so that internet, we could unpack that. That internet
All
has
day.
a lot to do with a lot of people's
Yeah.
anxiety, and
Mhm.
sometimes depression. And it's not just millennials that get affected by that. I mean, you
Mhm.
think about how often you look at different people posting certain things.
Yeah.
Um, and we tend to really believe that that is really their true life, when in actuality, a lot of it is not the real truth,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And I was telling a friend of mine, I said, when we look at certain posts, we look at certain pictures and we're like, oh my God, she's so photogenic. She looks so good. But man, I bet she took like 25 takes to get that one perfect pose,
I'm telling you.
It's not necessarily anything natural that just happens
Mhm.
or occurs. Now, that's not with everyone, so don't y'all be mad. But I think that more times than not, that we are not being our true authentic selves when
Mhm.
we're dealing with social media. So
Right.
what do you think about that?
I think you're right. I think that because of social media, it's easier to have what I like to say, like a disconnection from real community, real relationships. And I think that that is one thing that's very beneficial for our mental health is to be around real people in real time
Yes.
and to know that, hey, my life is not social media perfect. I can actually
Mhm.
talk to you about having a real moment.
Right.
Um, that can help for sure because a lot of times we're posting all of the vacations and all of the positive things
Mhm.
that are happening,
Right.
but we're not posting about having a bad day, going through what we're going through, being anxious, being depressed.
Mhm.
So that's important.
I think it's very important. And we're not saying that we just think people should just get on social media and just tell all their business and just talk about when they're sad and depressed and angry and all of that or feeling disconnected. But I think people on social media are looking for people that they can connect to, that they can
Mhm.
relate to. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes when we get on social media and we give that, beautiful smile, the made up face,
Mhm.
um, and all of that, the perfect pose, because, there's a way I could stand where I
Yeah.
don't look so thin, whereas I can stand a different way where I look hot, right? I look like I'm
Mhm.
snatched,
Yeah.
And so
Sure.
I think sometimes people get caught up in
Mhm.
that. And I think that could really stand, that's where a lot of the depression, because we feel
Mhm.
like we don't measure up, or we're not as good as other people, or we find ourselves comparing ourselves to
Mhm.
other people, on social media when they have issues and problems just like the next person.
You are so
So,
right. You are
yeah,
so right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is something that that unfortunately has really taken off when it comes to social media. I mean, it took me a minute to I think they had to drag me kicking and screaming to really get on social media. But one of the
Mhm.
things I would like to say about social media is that it has some great opportunities.
Mhm.
We're able to do this show.
Yes.
We have a platform here where we can share good information and some positive, vibes and information and you know, give people some something to think about and something to
Right.
hope for. And then I also think that social media is a way that people can connect and
Mhm.
we can build community and the reason I got on social media was
It's because 'cause you're a star. Like, we need you on social media,
Bree,
okay?
but let me tell you, I didn't start here, right? Didn't start here with It's Just Kim. I started really on Facebook because a friend of mine had sent something on Facebook. I wasn't on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And she texted me and said, "Did you see that video?" And it was a video of one of our friends doing something really silly. And she said, "Did you see that video of so and so?" And I said, "What video?" She said, "On Facebook." I said, "Oh, I'm not on Facebook." And she said, "Well, you need to get on." And it was so funny when I got on Facebook, it was like, I guess people could see that I was on. They were like, pop, 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 friend, 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 friends, friends. I was like, whoa. But the real reason I stayed, because I had said, I'm going to get on here, I'm going to watch this video, and I'm getting off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was some of my family members
Wow.
started friending me. And I was like, oh my God, I want to keep in contact with
Yeah.
my family. You know, this is a beautiful way for me to do that. And so that's how it started. It's not how it ended, right? But that's
Right.
how it started. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about Readjust Bree.
Okay, so Readjust Bree started in high school when I felt like giving up. Like I was like, nah. I was having a mental health moment at the schoolhouse.
Okay.
And so it ended up being basically like a quote saying, "It's not time to give up, but readjust, run the course," meaning keep
Yeah.
going. And so I have so many Instagrams. It's funny. But Readjust Fits, my Readjust Your Mind moment started after my grandmother passed away.
Okay.
And I was like, grief? This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to process how I was going to go about going through that grief journey. And so from there, I started using Instagram, social media, a Facebook group to help me navigate through that journey, but also
Wow.
hopefully help somebody else get through it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can see, when you know a person, you can definitely see that they are really trying. And I can see that, you were using social media as a way to help your healing,
Mhm.
to push you along that journey of grieving and getting yourself together and healing, because I know you were very close with your grandmother.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about grandma, because I know that grandma, I had your mom on the show some time ago. She was on a podcast,
Yes.
and we talked about a daughter and mental health and dealing with, her family. So tell
Mhm.
me a little bit about grandma. And I know you were aware, of your grandmother's mental health issues, and
Mhm.
how did that affect you as a child?
I think the dopest thing about it is my grandmother and I had a relationship. And so, um, our time together was in the bed with our coffee mugs. She drank coffee, I had some tea. Me and grandma, okay? And
Oh,
she affectionately called me Buddy. And so
oh,
because of that, when she did have her moment, my grandmother was very private, so I'm not gonna tell all her
yeah,
business. I feel like
yeah.
she come out the grave and get me, like, excuse me, miss, I didn't give you
Or
permission.
get me.
Right. But she had her moment. And
Mhm.
because she had her moment, she was very transparent as far as the way she was dealing with it. She uh would go to the mental hospital. She
Mhm.
would have meetings, I would call it like mental health groups. Um,
Wow.
she would have like a list on her refrigerator of like the healthy foods that she was eating to tackle her mental health. And so that's one of the ways I took an approach. I learned from my grandmother when she had that list on the refrigerator. Okay, food is a trigger to your mental health.
Yeah.
What you're drinking. My grandmother was also very dedicated to her sleep. She would wake up at
Mm.
a certain time. She would go to bed at a certain time. So I learned that from my grandmother. Like, listen, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. Um,
Right.
but the best part of my grandmother is the fact that we had a relationship. And so I learned that it's important to have, a buddy,
Yeah.
have somebody that you're going through this journey with. Um,
Right.
and so when she passed, I was like, "Whoa, this is
Mhm.
different," because I
Mhm.
didn't at that point. I wasn't really sharing my mental health moments with a lot of people. I was really feeling like my grandmother was my only safe space because I knew she was also having mental health moments. So
yeah. So now do you feel like you're more open to sharing when you're not, I know because we have a relationship, you don't have a problem with texting me saying, you know what, Cole?
I'm tired.
I'm tired, or something, this time of the month is about to happen. And, and that has a lot to do with us as women as well. We get real moody when it comes to that part of ourselves. So, and I know that you have never had a problem with sharing that part of yourself with me. I just always thought it was so awesome when I would see you on Instagram and you were sharing and you were giving out really good information, and opening yourself up to other people who may be going through the same thing. Have you gotten a lot of response from that type of thing?
Yes. The first thing I want to say is listen. So co-pastor and I, the reason why I'm able to have those moments with her, and I hope that those of you that are watching are that for our generation. We need that. We need for, like co-pastor, she just came and sat on our couch. And I said, okay, I can talk to you, right? You went from being co-pastor to being a human being and saying, I've been where you are. And so listen, you don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to be ashamed around me, and I think that's how it started, where I'm like, okay, because I had this human moment with you. Okay, now I can text you and be like, okay, I'm having these moments. And so, as far as Instagram and stuff like that, I have gotten a lot of feedback from my generation with them saying, I have endometriosis. I relate to you because, I talk about PMS on there. I talk about PMDD, and so people are able to say, I'm going through this. Bree, what are you taking? What are you trying now? And I'm like, listen, I'm trying this. I'm trying this. You know what I mean? And I'm just figuring it out myself. I can't say that I have the answers. I'm just navigating through this journey, right?
Sometimes you learn as you go, know. I've learned that about a lot of things in this life, is that I'll even go as far as to say a lot of what I know, a lot of what I have learned as I've gone on. And I listened to books on tape, audio books in the mornings when I drive to work. And I've been listening to a lot of leadership books. And so one of the things this man said today was that you never learn you don't know anything that that you didn't learn from someone else. There's nothing that you know that you didn't learn from someone else. And I was thinking, gosh, that is such a true statement. So it's good when we have platforms like this where we are sharing and we are teaching and we're helping other people grow. And the one thing I think is the best thing of all that we are doing is we are letting people know that they are okay, that they are not alone, that there's somebody out there who's going through what they're going through just like they are, like they are, and so I think it's an amazing thing that, first of all, let me just say this, and after I say this, we're going to go to a commercial and come back. But your generation, I really feel like they say you're the anxious generation, but I say you guys are the most Lord Jesus, courageous. I don't know why that word just wouldn't come. You're the most
courageous
generation that I know. I don't know another generation that has more courage than you guys do. You don't mind trying new things. You'll start a business. If it don't work, you'll start another one. You'll start school, stop school. You'll do a lot of things. But I want to get back to that when we get back. We're going to go to a commercial right now.
All righty.
Because self-care should be luxurious. Luxe Noir.
Hey pilots, did you know that you can now catch the electrifying sounds of Bulletin Flight Radio anywhere you go? Yes, you heard it right. Tune in to the high-flying beats and soaring melodies by downloading the TuneIn app on your mobile device. Just search for Bulletin Flight Radio and hit play. It's that easy. And if you have a smart device like Alexa or Google, just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn." Experience the rush of adrenaline wherever you are. Listen to Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn using your Alexa or Google devices. Soaring through the skies has never sounded this good. Don't miss out on the ultimate musical journey. Tune in now to Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn and let the music take you on an unforgettable ride. Get ready to elevate your listening experience. Brought to you by Bulletin Flight Radio.
Are you ready for enlightening conversations that transcend boundaries? Get ready for Conversations with Clergy, brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. In partnership with the world's largest publicly funded international collaboration, the HVTN is dedicated to evaluating vaccines to prevent HIV and COVID-19, but their impact doesn't stop there. The HVTN is at the forefront of advancing vaccinology, social and behavioral sciences, statistics, immunology, and even contributing to the research on tuberculosis and COVID-19 vaccines. By supporting Conversations with Clergy, the HVTN not only brings you thought-provoking discussions, but also contributes to the global effort to combat infectious diseases. Tune in, stay informed, and be a part of the change. Conversations with Clergy, supported by the HVTN, empowering conversations, empowering lives. Join us in this journey of knowledge, understanding, and progress. Conversations with Clergy, proudly brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, because together we can make a difference.
Okay, so we are back. I'm back with Miss Brenae Seals. Just a wonderful young woman. If you just joined us, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Bree is a mental health advocate. She has a wonderful Instagram where she shares a lot of information about mental health. Not so much it's a professional IG page, but it's a relatable, real IG page where people can get on there and go, yeah, I feel you on that. I really do. So I wanted to kind of talk about some things that, ways that you provide yourself with self-care, because I feel like self-care is extremely important, not just to millennials, but self-care is just important to all age groups, all genders. Everyone should indulge in some type of self-care, because sometimes we get so caught up in either working hard or taking care of other people, and we find ourselves not really taking care of ourselves. And I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Where times where, I was so busy being a mom, being an employee, being a student, being a first lady, being all these things, a wife, that I didn't take care of me, and you can really get burned out when you don't. So what are some things that you do to provide yourself with self-care?
So this might sound funny, but I really like our bathroom because it has like a heating thing on it, right? So my shower times are very important. The times where I get to brush my
Nice.
teeth, I take those as moments for Bree.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'm a part of Black Girls Run where I have my weekly runs. I'm not there tonight, but I will be back. And those are very therapeutical because we get to talk and just do life together. So Black Girls Run is very helpful. Having time with my friends, making sure I have balance. You know what I mean? That's self-care for me, is to maintain that balance.
That's good. That's good. There are some things that that I used to do more of that I probably will get back to doing more of. Getting massages and
Ooh,
yeah, getting a
yeah.
massage and you know what? And there was a time where I would just go for a drive. Just get in my car and go for a drive and just clear my head, get out. You know, I wasn't mad at anybody or
Yeah.
didn't do anything, just wanted to go for a little drive. Then I have what I call my check-ins because I need to know if because sometimes you know you can get so into yourself that you think that you're okay, and when sometimes you're really not. And
Yeah.
you need like that person in your life that can check you and say, look, you need to shut that down. And it's funny because I can be like a workaholic, have no problem doing it, right? And
Wow.
have been a workaholic at times. And so recently I just got a new job. And I love the job, and we're in a critical time right now with auditing and all of that. And so, I'm like, focus. I'm right there
Enjoying
and
it. Yeah.
doing it. So then, I'm famous for having a side gig. So I'll have my job and then I'll have a side gig, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I love extra streams of income. I just love it. And so, a friend of mine who is a manager of a place that I've worked for before, and she called me and she said, hey, I got, this little side gig if you want to do it. And I was like, I was thinking about the money and I was like, no, my peace is not worth it.
Yeah.
And I know I wouldn't have peace. I know I would be forever grinding, and I would never have any downtime. I would never have any time for me. I would never have any time for my husband, even though my children are all adults, I would never have time for them because I would always be on the grind. So sometimes you have to make some hard decisions, in order to preserve your peace. And so I know that this is enough for me. God blessed me with what I needed, financially. And so this is enough for me, and I'm just going to sit in that for right now, and if he blesses me to do something different that won't take up so much of my time, why not? But at the same time, I know that people tend to get so busy that they don't do those things. They don't go to the spa. They don't go for runs. They don't go for walks. They don't sit in the bathtub. They don't. Sometimes, Bree, I'm gonna tell you. Sometimes what I just download, just like everything up here, just push it all down and don't think about it. I call it smut TV.
Yeah.
And when I say smut, y'all, I don't mean like smut. I mean like ghetto TV. I just like veg out and I'll watch a whole series of something just funny, meaningless, no truth to it. I don't have to think about it. you know, and I'll just enjoy that. I'll just spend the day doing absolutely nothing. And then there are days where I don't even turn the TV, most times, I don't even turn the TV on, and I just sit in silence.
Doesn't silence sound so good?
I sit in silence.
Literally. I have this thing where I call it, I need to charge my social battery. And when I need to charge my social battery, I'm typically like, okay, I need to get somewhere still where it's quiet and I don't have to hear nothing. I love to just sit in silence.
Yeah. I think a couple Saturdays ago, I did a couple things, and chores around the house, and before I knew it, I was just sitting. And I came to myself. I was like, you haven't turned on no TV, there's no music, and no one was home. And I was just like, wow, this felt really good. I didn't have the TV on, nothing, just sitting in silence and enjoying the quiet. And I'll even go as far as to say it wasn't like a lot of things just ruminating in my mind. It was nothing. I was just sitting in silence, almost just like in a meditative state, just like, with just me and my peace. It was amazing. It was an amazing time. Now I want to get into some personal stuff, okay?
Okay.
So first of all, we'll start with church. You are definitely an amazing children's church leader, and the children just love you. I said that earlier.
Thank you.
But this past Sunday, you preached your first sermon. So tell me, how does it feel being a young preacher? I mean, I know you just got started, but how does that feel for you?
I think that it feels like a journey of, God, what do you see? What do you see in me? Because one of the things that I learned when, me and God was having our conversations is he's like, Bree, you don't have to understand it right away. You don't have to understand all of it right now. Yeah. Just do what I asked you to do. I'm like, okay, yes.
Wow.
And so it's just been a moment by moment type thing.
Yeah.
I'm facing my fears, facing my inadequacies, insecurities, moment by moment. So that's how
very good. Do you feel any peer pressure now that you've accepted that call?
That comes with it. Like once I first started accepting my call to ministry, my Facebook kind of changed. I started posting more things about ministry and what I'm doing in ministry. And so I had friends that said, oh, girl, we can't smoke around you no more. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I have a girl who said that, and she has not called or texted me since. And I'm like, girl, hit me up. So that comes with it. You ain't going to have the same friends that you used to have.
No, you're not. You're not.
You're not going to be hanging out with the same people. They're going to just disappear. You're going to be like, oh, okay. So how do I deal with that?
Yeah.
I feel weird at cousin functions. Because I'm like sitting there at the cousin function on a Saturday night thinking about the kids and what they're going to have for snacks in the morning.
Wow. Yeah.
So it is a transition. It does definitely comes as a transition, but you just take it moment by moment. Really.
Very good. And I can identify with that. I remember when my husband first started preaching, we were a very young couple. So here's our thing. We got married on June 8th. And he preached his first sermon on June 9th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, oh, wow.
Y'all did both of those like big old steps.
Back to back, right?
Yeah, because I'm like,
and then the next week we went on our honeymoon. But yeah, so we got married Saturday and he preached his first sermon on Sunday. And I have to be honest. We hung out. We had our people we hung out with. We had our people we hung out. We did things, right? And after he accepted that call to ministry and started preaching, people kind of treated us a little different. I think they were more uncomfortable with us being around because maybe they felt like it shined a light on their inadequacies or their lack of relationship with God, or just maybe some things that they were doing that they know are not what Christians should be doing. And so I think that was part of the reason. And I remember this is one thing, and I say this to you so that you can learn from my mistake.
Mhm.
One of the things that I didn't understand was that a lot of it was about respect. They were really respecting, but I saw it as you making choices for me. So what I mean by that is they would not invite us to certain things. Well, because they knew there were certain things they was going to be doing at those certain, activities. And so they wouldn't invite us. And I would be mad. And I remember telling some of them, look, I can make my own choices. And, I even went as far as to saying, he's the one who's preaching, not me. And all this foolishness. But it's, that part of you, yes. I mean, sometimes you don't have the same crowd. The same crowd is just, they're not interested in what you're interested in. And we have to be okay with that. We have to be okay with that. Let me ask you another question. Where do you see yourself? I mean, you're 26. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What do you see Bree doing?
Man, I see Bree just going around the world, running, spreading the gospel,
Wow.
on TV somewhere, because that's what God shared with me.
Okay.
And just inspiring people, and just being me. I definitely want to continue to be myself and be authentic. I do want a family,
Okay.
I think that's
and I was
important.
going to ask you about that too, because the last show I had 2 millennial young men on.
Mm-hmm.
And
so good. That was a good show.
Yeah. And they really surprised me with some of the answers.
Sorry, y'all.
No, that's okay. They surprised me with some of the answers they gave me to some of the questions that I had. I had about family. I had about marriage. They were very traditional in their thoughts, and it was kind of, and it was kind of enlightening, because I really didn't see them as feeling and thinking in that way. One of them, was my son William, of course, and I didn't think I knew he is sort of traditional, but I didn't think he was as traditional in his thoughts about family and marriage and things like that were as traditional as they were. And so I was happy to hear them talk about wanting to be in relationships, because I'll be honest with you, and you tell me what you think about this. It seems, and I don't have any facts to back this up, but it seems like your generation, and maybe I'm for sure that generation coming up after you, like they're not really interested in committed relationships. Do you think that's true?
That's very true. I think, as for myself, I think that social media makes it kind of harder for a committed relationship. And it goes back to that, what we first talked about, of like actually talking to one another, getting to know each other. And so those are some things that I'm personally still learning on, how to actually sit down and talk to somebody.
Do you feel like text messaging and Instagramming and DMing, do you feel like that has like blocked some of the more intimate type of communication people have? People don't talk on the telephone anymore, they text. I see people, I can read your whole conversation, not read it like know what you're talking about, but I can tell when you're having a high, and not just you, I'm just saying people in general.
Yeah.
You can tell by the expressions on their face, their laughter, different things that may be going on with them, their expression when they're, texting and, all that kind of stuff. Or you see people make a post, stay out of my DMs, that type of thing. And so it's like, it seems to me like these smartphones are making us dumber, okay? Because we just don't have that face-to-face, ear-to-ear communication like we used to do. We used to get on the phone and fall asleep talking to our boos or significant others, that type of thing. But it just, I don't know. It seems like it's not quite like that anymore.
Right. And I'll be honest, I'll be the first to say that because I'm so introverted, I know it doesn't seem like that from the outside looking in, but I'm very introverted. So I have to practice actually going out and hanging out with friends and practicing social clues and stuff like that, and what to talk about, how was your day, that type of thing. That's actually a struggle for me that I'm actually working on. And so,
believe it or not, it's a struggle for me too. It really is. Seriously. It's very much a struggle for me sometimes because sometimes I don't know how to start a conversation. Sometimes I don't know what this person may want to talk about. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. We just go sit here and look at each other, and I don't have a whole lot of like friends that I go hang out with and do things with. I just have a small nucleus of people, and probably because I don't take the chance of putting myself out there to meet new people and, kind of socialize a little more. I just don't. I'm not a part of a lot of women's groups and ministries and things because I'm very much an introvert. Very much an introvert. So, but that's good that you are, you're young and you're single. I could stay home and it would matter. I'm married. So, but
I love staying at home. I have to tell myself, Bree, come on, let's practice going to go be around other people. Let's try it.
That's good. But I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad, because that could be a part of, that stigma that we have for ourselves when we're feeling inadequate or we're feeling anxious, or depressed. We feel like we don't measure up. I talked about the imposter syndrome when we feel like, I don't belong, I don't deserve all these types of things. And so I think it's good that you're pushing past all that, and I like the fact that you're making an effort to push past that so you can grow, so you can develop. And one thing I heard somebody talking about this. This young man made a post and he said something about sis, you're not gonna meet any men
in the house. Right.
He said unless it's the mailman and the Amazon delivery guy, somebody like that. But we have a good question here. Do you think as a millennial the pandemic has had an influence on you being an introvert? Good question. You want to answer that?
Yes. So before the pandemic, I was very pandemic-like. I was already an introvert. And so I think
wow.
Yes. And so I think after the pandemic, having to go to church again for the first time and all of that stuff, I had to really come out of that because I was enjoying it. But then I started to realize, okay, if I'm going to heal and develop and grow as a woman, a young woman, I need to talk to people, you know what I mean? And have a relationship with other people.
Wow. That's good. That's good. So I know we had talked about, you wanting to be married one day. What does that look like for you? I mean, what is dating? Do you date with a purpose or are you just, because some people think that, I'll date different people, and I don't have any problems with that, as long as you're not just out there, but just dating different people, learning different people, giving yourself options. How do you feel about that? What is your dating style, if we could say?
Well, I had to go from the social media dating, talking to people on social media and on the internet to actually dating in person. And I've actually been having a lot of fun with that.
That's good.
Yes, sometimes I'm quiet, so I'm learning how to talk and not be so shy.
Okay.
But yeah, I think to answer your question, I'm not necessarily like a date all over the place type of person because, baby, I don't got time to be talking to one person. I only got the energy to exert myself for one person. And I'm glad
Right.
I like that one person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
that's a good thing. So yeah, for me, as far as the future and stuff like that, obviously, I hope as a Christian woman that it turns into
Right.
marriage and family. But right now I'm working on learning how to date, how to pay attention to social clues, learning who am I in a romantic relationship, and just different things, like learning a lot about myself, how I want to dress. I can't have my hair all over my head. You know what I'm saying? How I speak to that person, that's important to me. Not raising my voice at that person, respecting that
Right.
person.
Right.
So those are the things that I'm learning right now, is how to carry myself and respect that person, but also respect myself.
That's right. That's key. That's key. That's number one, is that yes, we're trying to respect and give people their space and love on them and build them up, but at the same time we should always consider ourselves. Always consider yourself. Always leave enough for you.
Yes.
And that's one thing I like to share with young women is, you get in a relationship and you really want to give it your all. You really want to push and you really want to make that person feel special and make sure that they're okay, but always leave something for yourself.
Yes.
Learn. And, even in dating, here I am giving dating advice, right? But even in this period in time in dating, make sure that you also date yourself. Because one of the things that I think that some of us as women, we're not open to is being with ourselves. Just being alone with ourselves. I know a lot of women, young women, old and young, who do not like being alone.
Yeah.
So we'll tend to do things and we'll tend to be in relationships like we are a wife, like we are, the mother, or we are taking on a role that we're not really in. So yes, one thing I'll say to you, young lady, is make sure you always leave room for you. So look, we are going to bring it to a close tonight, Bree. I just want to thank you. You have been an amazing guest.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely not your last time being on It's Just Kim with me. You have shared some great insight on being an advocate for mental health, being just that strong person for your grandmother when she was having her situations going on, and then learning how to go through your journey of grief, proactively, and not just clamming up somewhere in the corner and just, giving up. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you for that. And thank you again for joining our show. So you take care. Love you, girl.
Love you. Thank you for having this platform. This is awesome. This is amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you all, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you're sharing this information. You're sharing this show with your friends and your family. There you go. You see it? Thumbs up. Hit that bell. Make sure that you are always aware when we are coming on. It's Just Kim. So until the next time, text. We got something new. Look at that. Text Blaze to 833-793-2423. Okay? I don't know what's going to happen, but I think good things are going to happen.
Great things are going to happen, right?
How 60 years old I was, right? I don't know what's going to happen, but I tell you, Kwame, my producer, he's the man. He got you, okay? Yeah. So anyway, you all take care. You stay safe. Until the next time.
Until the next time. Good night.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.